If you're a Panthers fan, you're probably thinking the same thing as me. I miss Cam. I miss Luke. I miss Greg. I kind of miss RR. But it's the 2020 NFL season, and this Panthers team has me excited. I can't wait to see this team take the field, and there really is a lot to be pumped up about. I'm Bradley with DoublySports, and thank you for your continued support as we are back from our short little break, if you want to call it that, from YouTube, where I was forced to delete over 100 of my videos. If you can, please like this video if you enjoy it, and subscribe to the channel. It really goes a long way, and we are only days away from bringing back our DraftKings, sleepers, studs, and stacks, our game picks, and much, much more. But this video is all about the black and the blue, so let's get into it. This is the Turf Report, Carolina Panthers edition, where each week we take a look at the Carolina Panthers' current situation. From head coach Matt Rule playing country music for the boys when they are giving it their all, to Christian McCaffrey's mom calling him out for only getting her a golf cart when he signed his contract. We want to talk all things Carolina Panthers related. You'll notice one big thing about me is that I am very optimistic, specifically in this series. I am very optimistic. I like to stay positive when talking about things. I'm a realist in a lot of ways and willing to call it like it is, but I'm always going to have an unbiased opinion and stay positive. I have faith that everything's going to work out and that the guys are going to continue to improve for the benefit of us. Today, specifically, we are talking about Teddy Bridgewater, the offensive weapons that he gets to play with, and new offensive coordinator Joe Brady. Then we'll take a quick dive into the areas of concern and see just how serious they are. I hope my areas of concern are minor. I'm sure there are a lot of holes in this team that we don't yet know, but I don't think it's not anything that they can't overcome. And I promise you, I know what your biggest concern is. I promise. I have some good news for you and some thoughts to put you at ease. I promise. I bet on it. It's coming. So make sure you drop a comment below. Hit me up on social media. I love talking about the Panthers, and I need some more people to follow because I'm so tired of seeing the same old people bashing one another and spitting names at one another about current players, current coaches, former coaches, whatever it is. I'm tired of it. I want some more positivity on my timeline. Real quick, and just because I want to hold myself accountable, next video, make sure you are coming back as we'll be talking about our season predictions and overall record and finish. Players we can't wait to watch on offense, defense, and special teams, and I think they're really going to surprise you, as well as our bold predictions. Is DJ Moore going to lead the team in receptions? Will Robbie Anderson and Teddy Bridgewater make a Pro Bowl? Will this team actually be playoff bound? What? Am I crazy? Probably. All right, well, we'll see. Teddy Bridgewater, my man, is now on his third stop, and players, coaches, media all seem to have one thing to say about him: poise. I don't know if he's ever wowed you with that Mahomes no-look cross-field throw, but he has that certain Russell Wilson-esque type quality about him. And what I mean by that is that, like in practices and gameplay last year, he likes to protect the ball. He doesn't force the chance or take the threat of a turnover, but rather throw it away, throw it at the feet of your wide receiver, and get out of a situation. You know how Russell Wilson never really turns the ball over? I think he has the NCAA record still for most attempts without an interception. I love that. More of that, buddy. Hold on to the ball and live to fight another day or another down. I think we can all agree that on the Panthers Super Bowl run a few years ago with Cam, he did a great job of this. I believe in his final 8 games of the season, he only had 1 interception. That's insane. Let your defense, which I hope is vastly improved, and I think we all hope that, make the play and get the ball back. Let Thieves Avenue do what thieves do. Trey Boston, Dante Jackson, I'm looking at you to turn this team around. Teddy Bridgewater is athletic enough to escape the pressure and find a new, clean area to deliver the ball from and give all of this speed that he has on the outside a chance to make it down the field. Let it be known. If you follow me on Twitter, you absolutely know I still love Cam Newton, but I am beyond excited to see what Teddy Bridgewater can do. At best, he leads this team to the playoffs, right? At worst, the team struggles like we all kind of assume they're going to do, and they get Trevor Lawrence, right? Also, do we have an official nickname for him? I see a lot of floating around out there. I see Teddy Two Gloves, and I think that's my favorite. It's probably the crowd favorite. But we really need to nail one down and go ahead and just run with that. All right, there's no real surprises here, but I just want to take a moment and give a shout out to speed. Not the drug. I'm talking the freakish athletic ability that all of these players have in common. They are absolute burners. If the Panthers' offensive line can slow down pass rushers just a little bit, instead of having more holes than a cheese grater, this team can actually put something together. There is some massive big play potential on this team. Robbie Anderson seems to be thrilled to be in Carolina. Panthers Nation thrilled to have him back and give a legitimate number one option. I mean, granted, it seems as though DJ Moore might be the number one option. I'm actually a little confused by all of this. I assumed when Robbie Anderson got here, he was going to be the number one guy. But national media and a lot of the local news outlets are saying that DJ Moore is number one, or that they're going to be splitting. I don't understand how exactly this is going to work. Regardless, I'm excited to have him here. I love that Teddy Bridgewater came out and said that himself, Robbie Anderson, Curtis Samuel, and CMC would be a deadly 4x4 relay team. I love that confidence in him. I mean, I'd probably take Dante Jackson over Teddy. But he plays on the opposite side of the ball. So speed kills, and I can't wait to see this in action and watch them get into space and into the open field. Minor notes about some of these weapons. Carolina Panthers, they announced earlier today, depending on when you're watching, the Carolina Panthers announced that Cam Phillips, the wide receiver of the Houston Roughnecks, former wide receiver with P.J. Walker, has signed with the team. Excited to have him. He looks like he has very good hands on the limited exposure that I've had to him. Omar Bayless underwent minor surgery. I believe it was loose cartilage or some discomfort in his knee, but should be back soon, looking about a 2-week timetable of return. And he's definitely wowed a lot of coaches and players in practice or at camp thus far. And finally, one thing that I think really went under the radar is that there's 2 former Saints with plenty of reps with Teddy Bridgewater coming in, with Tommy Lee Lewis and Keith Kirkwood. Now, there's no guarantee that they're going to make the team with so many wide receivers in camp right now. But if you can get 1 or 2 of those guys in there, I think that's a sneaky good play to have them in there with Teddy Bridgewater. So even though these are the areas of concern, I told you, I'm going to be positive. So I'm going to tell you why there's a hope for this unit right here. This might surprise some teams and some fans this year in a good way. I know we've been over it a million times. You've heard everybody say the offensive line. I mean, literally since 2015, maybe 2016, it's been an issue. We know that. We lost Trey Turner, but they bring in a veteran on the left side in Russell Okung. They've moved some pieces around, and so far the coaches seem to be very happy with everything that's going on. One thing that I think that they can really help this unit grow is the fact that the Panthers' defensive line is so dang good. I hope. There's a real threat at every position, and they all do something a little bit different, right? It gives them a lot of things to look at and a lot of things to work at in practice, so that on game day, it's actually slowed down a little bit for the offensive line. If you can match or even surpass the game day experience and the game day pressure, Sundays will be a little bit easier for this offensive line. I mean, you have Stephen Weatherly, you got Brian Burns, who is an absolute monster at times last year, F.A. Obata, K.K. Short, Derek Brown, Marquise Haynes. You don't need me to name these players. You know who they are. And they all have their different areas where they excel. Now you can kind of move them around the line and help work on their technique and their craft. You know, a great defensive line should help a below average offensive line. That's the hope. I know this is your biggest concern, right? Like this has to be number one on your list. How do the defensive backs slow down legitimately the top wide receivers division or group in the league? I get that. You have Julio Jones, Michael Thomas, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Calvin Ridley in Atlanta, still Emmanuel Sanders, even in New Orleans now. Well, I'm going to tell you how and why I have a little bit of hope for this group, okay? Hear me out. Besides Josh Norman, do you remember who the Panthers had at defensive backs during their Super Bowl run in 2015? I know I'm alluding back to this year quite a bit. But do you remember? Okay, yeah, it's Trey Boston. Yeah, we still have him. Kurt Coleman, one of the hardest hitters I've ever seen, and I loved it. But keep going. After that, yeah, Roman Harper, who was near the end of his career. Robert McClain. Who? Yeah. Cortland Finnegan. What? Yeah. Both of those were free agent signings that they made mid-year. I think it was November and December, respectively. They signed them. Cortland Finnegan didn't even have a job at the time. I think they picked him up straight from the gym and brought him onto the field. Bené Benwickery was lost for a season. It wasn't looking good, but they still performed because of the front seven. Those DBs were not great at all, but the defense as a whole worked out perfectly fine. I'm not saying the Panthers are going to get that kind of production on the field this year. It's definitely not going to be Super Bowl-esque defense. But when we're screaming about how pumped up we are to see Brian Burns emerge as a possible Pro Bowler, if he would have taken all the snaps last year, we were arguing that he could have been a Defensive Rookie of the Year or deserved to at least be mentioned among those names. But if this defensive line is able to get pressure and the linebackers play at a high level, that kind of relaxes the play for the cornerbacks, right? They don't have to play a perfect game, just good enough. I'm still concerned, just like many of you, with Eli Apple, Corn Elder, Troy Pride Jr. But I love hearing the coaches talk so highly of them and what they've seen, specifically this year about Dante Jackson's attention to detail, Jeremy Chin's freakish athletic ability and his ability to hit you like a rock, and Justin Burris and the leadership that he's already shown. So even though this is an area of concern, I hope I'm able to put you at ease a little bit, that even though this doesn't look like it's a good situation, I'm hoping it turns out to be all right. Let me know if you agree. Put it in the comments. Is the back of this defense still your biggest concern? Or is it something else that I didn't allude to? Finally, the coaching staff. It's definitely a difficult thing to overcome. It's definitely got to be harder this year with limited reps, meetings, in face-to-face conversations and practices because of coronavirus, COVID-19. Not only do players have to buy into this system, but they also need to understand the system and trust the process. And I don't know how much trust the guys have. Again, we're not in the meeting room. We're not in the locker room. We can't understand what's going through everyone's head or even behind closed doors. But how do the players feel about the coaches? You can buy into the system, but do you trust the coaches? We don't know who said what or he said, she said kind of situation. We weren't flies on the wall. But for Matt Rule saying that he can't wait to work with Cam Newton to literally 3 days later signing Teddy Bridgewater and saying goodbye to Cam on social media before they even released him, we don't know who made that decision or what level Rule had his hands in that situation. But you had that happen, and the Greg Olsen leaving, rumors swirling about Curtis Samuel going, and then Rule, I can't speak today, Matt Rule bringing in a whole bunch of Temple and Baylor players, it felt like. How do the players actually feel about this coaching staff? They seem to be happy. They have a smile on their face. The guys that need to be positive look like they're positive. By the way, I know I mentioned Baylor and Temple. Did you know? I'm pretty sure this is right. I think the Panthers still have more Carolina Gamecocks on their team than any other college. Well represented on this Panthers team. I'm okay with that. So we'll see how the players buy into the system, but from the outside looking in, it seems to be working out so far and fitting the play style. It looks like they have the right pieces that they need, a lot of speed, and that seems to fit the style. You bring in a lot of college coaches, a lot of college minds. You just want freakish athletes that can play anywhere on the field and play it fast. All right, thank you so much for watching this one. Let me know where I screwed up, what I got wrong, and if you agree with me or disagree with me. I'm just ready for the NFL season to be back. I'm cheering on the Carolina Panthers, whether inside or outside Bank of America Stadium. Make sure to follow me on social media. I'm always looking for those new voices and faces to talk to and want to get your thoughts on this 2020 season. Don't forget, our DraftKings sleepers, studs, and stacks for daily fantasy sports is on its way, as well as game picks, betting odds. So make sure you are subscribed here on YouTube so you never miss a video. And these videos are also available audio only if you prefer to do that. You can find us on iHeartRadio or Spotify. So if you don't have time to sit at your computer or sit on your smartphone and watch these videos, you can listen on your drive into or on the way home from work. Thank you so much for your support. Go Panthers and keep pounding.